Hello, people. Good afternoon. Okay, so I don't want to take too much time on this. Like, I just kind of want to, do this really quickly. We are going to talk about this later today on Archie's briefing. So I'm just going to give you a quick brief on how I feel about this proxy voting bill brought to us by Representative Luna, an America First conservative woman, as well as the Democrats as well. So obviously, it was no surprise that when this bill came down and they were voting on it, Democrats said yes, Representative Luna said yes. The issue that I'm having with this, however, is that she is accusing Representative Johnson, Speaker Johnson, of being anti-family. So according to Representative Luna and the Democrats, that if you are against the proxy voting bill where women who just have their babies stay at home for 4 months, that means you are anti-family. Like, this is what she's accusing of conservatives who disagree with this bill. Let me tell you the problem that I have with this. I am not anti-family because I think that if you are the woman who decides to take up the responsibility of representing your district, that somehow I'm forcing you to choose between your countrymen and your babies. I did not tell you to run for office. You decided to do that. I did not tell you to take up this responsibility. You decided to do that. Now, I'm for women staying home with their children. For that. Totally for it. You know, you look at all the opportunities that society has granted women all these years. This is fantastic. Okay, fine. Women can work from home. They can work part-time hours, and this is all great all fine, all good in the hood. Fine. But here's the thing. If you are saying that you cannot choose between your constituency and your children, then you shouldn't run for office. I'm not anti-family because I don't think that this bill should be allowed. What you are asking the taxpayers to do here is to continue paying you to not be at the office for 4 months while somebody else does your job and is also paid. Where'd they do that at? Name one job, name one industry in America where the employee gets 4 months off, okay, and gets paid leave for 4 months while somebody else do their job and they too get paid. That's costing us way more money. We are now paying for two people to do the work. No, we're trying to cut wasteful spending here. Like, what are you doing here? You're deliberately creating conflict where there was no conflict. Women have been in government for decades. This was never a conversation. When you had the massive sweep of women in the 90s, Maxine Waters didn't ask for this. Nancy Pelosi didn't ask for this, okay? And then when you look in 2018 under President Trump's first term, so many women got elected. The more women in government, that was the most time you actually had more women in American government in the history of our government. So, okay, fine, great. Now, understand something. When the founders created our government, they did not consider women being in these places, being in these positions, right? Now we can have that. We can have women in office. You can have women in the workforce. Women can be bosses and all that, good stuff, not good stuff. I'll leave that for the red pillars and the feminists to debate. I don't care about none of that. Frankly, I think we're overcomplicating this about men and women. This bill, however, is not just against men. It is also going against women of a certain age. Marsha Blackburn doesn't need this bill. She's a grandmother, menopausal, can't have any more babies. Senator Loomis doesn't need this bill. She's a grandmother, okay, who is menopausal and not having any more babies. But now let's look at the conservative women who might be in their childbearing ages. Lauren Boebert, she's not supporting this. Margie Green Taylor, she's not supporting this, right? So what is the problem, Luna? What is the problem? Because Representative Luna says that if you are a conservative, okay, if you're anybody who's against this bill, then you are anti-family. And she's accusing this of Speaker Johnson as if he's not pro-family. Okay, so, sorry, but if you're America First conservative, it's God first, family next. We're pro-family, okay? We just also believe that the workforce, government, masculine, okay? Why is it that the women of yesteryear, who are still in office, I might add, are not asking for this? Maxine Waters isn't asking for this, still not asking for it. When you had Christine Noem in Congress, she wasn't asking for this. So why is this an issue? Because you just had your baby. And you think that you should have the unreasonable accommodation of being able to vote and zoom in your vote, or have somebody else do the job while you continue to be paid, as if that's something that we voted for. If I voted for you, then I want your behind in the dang office. This isn't me being ridiculous. This isn't because I'm not pro-family. If it is such a quagmire for you to choose between your constituency and your babies, well then, don't run for office. And if it's still a quagmire for you, Representative Luna, then you should have a special election and tell your voters to vote for a man or a grandmother. Because frankly, if this bill gets passed, I will never vote for a America First conservative female in her childbearing years. I don't care how harsh that sounds. I don't care if you think that I'm anti-woman. I don't care about none of that crap, okay? No, stop trying to terraform the government. You are deliberately trying to change how we've done things for centuries at this point because you don't think it's fair. No, it's masculine. Show up, do the dang job. Women have done this for decades. Okay, this kind of makes you look a little weaker compared to older women here because they didn't ask for this. They understood how this was. I have to figure out a way where I could be the wife, the mother, and the conservative congresswoman, and be the senator. You have to figure out how to do that. That's for you to do. If you don't like it, don't run for office. Okay? I don't care how harsh it sounds. This is ridiculous. We are going to talk about this later on Archie's briefings because I do want to pull up the video clips. They're bringing their babies to the dang office. They're bringing their babies to the speaker floor. Like, why is your baby there? Why is your newborn baby in Congress? Okay, this doesn't make sense. There's a time and a place and environments for children. This is not one of them. This is the workplace. You know, that whole take your child to work day. Yeah, no. Unreasonable accommodations is what you're asking for. 4 months off, paid leave, so that way somebody else could do your job. Yo, if you got a problem with it, Representative Luna, then you shouldn't have ran. And because you did and won, you got to show up and do the job. This isn't because we're anti family. It's because we got a country to save and we need everybody who won to do their dang jobs. If a bill like this gets passed, I will never vote for a conservative woman in her childbearing years. Okay? If you're in your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, women can have babies at up to 50. I'm not voting for you. I'm only voting for the menopausal woman. That's it. I'm voting for the man or the conservative menopausal woman. You ain't a grandmother. You're not a man. I'm not voting for you. It's just what this is. Show up to do the dang job. I don't care that you don't like it. I don't care that you don't think it's fair. I don't care about none of that. And, you know, again, I'm not pulling up any details right now. We're going to get into that in the episode later today. But this is ridiculous. This shouldn't even be a debate. Not only do we have to take it all the way back to the Constitution, right? We have to get into the mindset of our founders. When they founded our government, it didn't occur to them that women would be in these positions of power. It just never occurred to them. Why would they be? That was the idea. Now, we can be in the workforce. We can be in government. That's fine. You can be governors and senators and congress people. You can do all of that good stuff. The opportunity is there. But what you are saying is that you want not only the rest of the government, but the American people to provide you this accommodation. That is unreasonable. This is not only sexist, because men obviously don't need this, they don't get pregnant, but it's also ageist, because women of a certain age are not going to get the time off for 4 months paid leave because they obviously are not having babies. This bill doesn't apply to Marsha Blackburn. This bill doesn't apply to Cynthia Loomis. So this is not even about men versus women anymore. Okay? This is about younger women wanting a privilege that older women have never demanded. Stop trying to demand stuff you don't even need, nor need you even care about how this affects the rest of us who are trying to save a country out here. We need you to be in the office, okay? This is unconstitutional. Proxy voting just doesn't, that's not what the founders intended. I might give you emergencies. Beyond that, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. I don't care if you think it's unfair. I don't even care if you think I'm anti-family. I'm pro-family, okay? If it's a quagmire, don't run for office. A bill like this gets passed, I am never voting for the young female, period. I got people in the comments telling me that, oh, Arshel, you should run for office. No. Why not? Because I'm trying to have babies. I want to be married and have babies. And if it's becoming a conflict between my children and my constituents, that's a quagmire. And I don't want to make you feel a kind of way, but this was never even a conversation. It just made sense that you would have to figure it out. If you're going to take on the responsibility outside the household, fine. But don't be trying to terraform the environment of the workforce or government because you feel a kind of way. Men aren't demanding this. Older women aren't demanding this. It's just you, younger women in office. Okay, so if you feel that you might have children during this time, well, then don't run for office. It is as simple as that. We're not anti-family. We're not crazy. We're not unreasonable for saying you should be in the office representing the people that voted for you, even if you have your children. If it's a quagmire, don't run. This gets passed, I will never, ever vote for the young woman unless it's extreme circumstances. You're running against the rhino, you're running against the globalist Democrat, then I have no choice but to vote for you. But my preference is to vote for the man or the grandmother. If you are not the man and you are not the menopausal woman, I'm not voting for you. And bet your behind I will have the courage to sit there and ask you on a hot mic, on a microphone at the rallies, hey, are you still able to have babies? And if you think that that's too personal, well, you the one that made it that. You did this to yourselves. You decided to make this a part of the debate. You decided to make this important. So now I have to ask this question. Because if you are having babies and you want to stay home with them for that 4 months, I'm not voting for you unless it's extreme circumstances. You're running against the rhino or you're running against the globalist. I will vote for you. I will vote for you. But I'm telling you now, if this bill gets passed, I'm not with it. Now, so far it's saying no. The conservatives are saying no, which I'm for. But in the midterms, after that, seems a trend that the opposing side always takes the House. It seems to be the case. If that happens, a bill like this would get passed. If that's the case, well, then what does that mean for the voters? That's unfair. That's unconstitutional. And I'm not with it. I'm not anti family. I'm just not for the nonsense. Representative Luna, this is nonsensical. This is unconstitutional. And it's ridiculous. This is an unreasonable accommodation. And I'm not for that. And I don't think any conservative should be for this. That's why you're the only one out here saying this nonsense. So you guys get in the comment section. I am going to talk about this later on Archie's briefings because we actually got to pull up the bill and what the debate actually looks like. In the comments, let me know. And I'm going to talk to you guys later. Love you. Kepla.